93, 93, 93. This is Aman Asharanu from asharanu.com. Today I want to speak on, are you following your bliss? The question is asked because as we navigate life and as we mature, we tend to place our bliss to the side because now, we have to take care of children. We have to work jobs. We have responsibilities. We have duties. We have bills. We have investments, so on and so forth. So we tend to put bliss on the back burner, and that essentially occurs after we take care of business. Because if we don't take care of business, we tend to worry. When we don't have the necessary security, it's hard to be blissful. It's hard to enjoy things when you don't know where the money is going to come from to enjoy these things. So that's why we tend to put our energy towards gathering the resources so that we can enjoy our bliss. Right? You need a home, you can say, to watch a movie or to enjoy yourself in your own personal space. You have to pay the bill for that. The thing is, because we had to invest so much energy into making sure that we have the resources, the necessary energy that we would need to follow our bliss is weakened. So by the time, we're done working, taking care of the family, and having a little personal time, it may not be, or you may not have much energy left to just do what you enjoy after all of the obligations are taken care of. So slowly but surely, we begin to follow less and less of our bliss, and that time gets replaced, with more adult things, as we say. We lose our childlike energy because we become more materialistic, because we feel there's no other way to be, because that's what we are taught, that's how we are trained. We are not taught or trained how to be magical beings. So, of course, this is not something that we take as seriously as we should. Because the world essentially, wants us to be materialistic. It wants us to follow the status quo. It wants you to put yourself last instead of putting yourself first, which is what we tend to do most of the time. Sometimes we even lose what makes us blissful at all. We may not even be able to answer those questions sometimes because we are so far detached from it. Because the world takes us away from ourselves. And that's what it is designed to do. It is designed to keep you distracted for whatever reason. And this is how we are controlled by fear. Because when we are controlled by fear, it seems as if we have no time for bliss. Because we're too concerned with how to do this. How is this going to happen? Where is this going to come from? All these are attributes of fear. And then that becomes a reality to the point where we're so much in our heads. All of our energy is gone to the point where we don't have any energy left to even think about our bliss or what we actually desire because we're so caught into what obligations we have to fulfill. And over time, it seems as if that's all we have the energy to do. And this is how we get stuck. This is how we become stagnant. But it happens so subtly, we tend not to notice it. It's not something that essentially happens overnight, it happens very subtly. So that's why we have to ask the question, are you following your bliss? Because it's not something that's really kept in the forefront of the mind unless you are thinking magically. Because the whole purpose of thinking magically is to keep your bliss at the forefront. It's not to neglect anything else, any obligations you may have. It's just that your primary goal is to fulfill your bliss instead of it being secondary or not thought about at all. You keep it at the forefront, and everything else revolves around your bliss instead of your bliss being a non factor. So when your life revolves around your bliss, when you can shape your life to revolve around your bliss, then you begin to see this is how we should be living. Your bliss should be your 0 point. Your bliss should be the center of your circle. Because when your bliss is the center of your circle and all of the other components of your life revolve around this center point, there will never be a moment when you are not at bliss. Because even if you are working, you are making sure to mentally be in bliss. Even when you are spending time with the family, you are physically in bliss, so on and so forth, meaning you never lose track that you must place yourself in heaven or a blissful state. It's not going to happen on its own. And the more you place yourself in a blissful state, it begins to materialize because that becomes your focus to maintain a blissful state instead of maintaining the bills, maintaining the car note, which you're going to do anyway, but there's no need to have any fear to the point where we neglect the bliss. And then we wonder why we are not as fulfilled as we thought we would be based on the sacrifices that were made. We work hard to be able to enjoy life. So if we end up working too hard and not able to enjoy life because we lost track of what our bliss is, and this is when life becomes problematic. So never let your bliss become secondary. Shape your life to revolve around your bliss so that it is always in the forefront. So that you spring to action every day instead of dragging yourself into action every day. Now you look forward to the day instead of wanting to go back to sleep. Because every day is an opportunity for you to fulfill your bliss. And your bliss doesn't necessarily have to be completely physical. It can be a mental, and that's where it starts anyway. It starts with a mental image. It starts with a state of mind. And then it evolves into actual activities and physical happenings. But before all that, it starts with a consciousness state. Can you hold a blissful state mentally even if you're not in bliss physically? Because if you're able to maintain a blissful mindset, eventually you're going to see that the physical begins to give you more reasons to be blissful. situations begin to pop up because of your mental focus, because you never lost track of why you truly came here, which is to multiply your bliss. And this is how you fulfill your desires, which ultimately leads to living out your life purpose. It all starts with the bliss. The bliss is the foundation. So even if it's just a mental concept, you still must feed it. You must energize it. You must make it a living reality because it will not happen on its own. And with that, I bear peace. 93, 93, 93.